Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on which part of the world you are in. Welcome to the Titans Talk Show. I am excited again today because I have somebody whom I have known for a number of years, and it's good to have him on the show with me. This gentleman has spent 25 years working in technology, so I call him a veteran. He spent time in oil and gas, hospitality, real estate, leisure entertainment, and so on and so forth. Ladies and gentlemen, gives me pleasure to welcome Ajay Rathi to the show. Ajay, welcome to the Titans Talk Show.
Thank you.
Pleasure having you on board and lovely to see you again.
Thank you.
How are things been with you?
It's been great going on.
Awesome.
11 years here.
Awesome.
Good, like good.
Brilliant. Okay, so let's have some fun on the show today. There are a lot of people watching you, and I'm sure they're out with their pens and pads taking notes. So tell us, Ajay, what's keeping you busy these days?
As a technology professional, we are always busy with something or the other. And one of the things which is very important, which is the way that technology is changing. The most important thing is to bring the business knowledgeable enough to understand how the transformation is going to work. Because we all talk about transformations, and it's the business, we always miss it. We always take technology with us. It's just gelling through it, that moving IT into the business and gelling it properly. We normally put it, okay, IT is into business, I will put IT as a business or a business into an IT. But I always feel it, and this is something which I always try to work it. It's just to fusion them together slowly, instead.
Excellent. Business. How has business adapted or embraced technology in the last 5 to 10 years? How do you see the change coming about?
Okay, you have to understand something very important in this region. Due to cultural issues, due to the issues of, we are at the forefront of adopting a technologies, but the way the technology has been used in other part of the world is not easy to use it in this part of the world. So what we do try to do is, and what I have understood from the business has actually now have understood, and it's not because of that. I mean, recently you understand about what, and this has created a lot of vibes amongst the business about what Karim has it. The guys wanting to deliver more than a 10 billion dirhams company in a span of 7 years. So they understand that technology can do a lot of it, and the new generations of people who are coming into the business are coming from a technology background. So they are understanding. They're saying, okay, yes, something is still done. But I think there is still a lot of work is left from the IT side, and I'm from the IT side, and still I'll say we are still lagging one of the basic components of. We ourselves have not been adopting technology the way we should be doing it. We are still, if you look at it, look at the vendor community, they still do a traditional way of try and get them some the agile methods of. We talk about all those things, but we have this limitations from the vendor sides also, that they are not able to bring in this. A lot of people having an issue is this: I want to do digital transformation. I want to do digital. Change the IT guy. Bring an IT guy who can bring a digital transformation. You can't do a digital transformations. Today, if you look at it, any transformation which has happened, the way the business has been done. So how the business works has changed. Even if a lot of people give the example of Airbnb, Kareem, this. Why didn't a taxi company become that? Why didn't a Ford with billions of dollars with them bring out a Tesla? You can't do that, because see, organizations are still working in a finite environments. Their KPIs are there, their financial performance are there. They all look through that. They still work in training. So as the business method changes, so it's not about only the digital transformation from the IT side. It's the transformation means we have to have a business transformations, and IT need to just gel into it to help them work in a transformed business.
Excellent. What is the one challenge you believe, and you spoke about several, I know, what is the one challenge that you believe technology guys have actually overcome and are doing a good job with?
Okay, one of the things which, and it has been there, a lot of people talk about it, saying that in terms of we are becoming a business enabler, we are becoming, but still the IT used to be a reactive IT, wherein they'll go, okay, you want this, we can give you this and this and this. So we are enabling your, whatever you're asking, you're able to do it. Now I think a lot of technology has started sitting with them and saying that we have 4 more ideas about you. Look at these ideas. And I think business is now thinking, yes, IT can bring something. So more of becoming more of a proactive, more of interactive with them, rather than being just enabler. What they wanted, they want a CRM, they want to talk to the people, here is a CRM. They want to do make a sales, here is a sales system. It's not that. How to look at it? They want that we need to increase our sales. We got, these are 4 different channels you have available to increase your sales. It's not only one channel. So when you talk about that, and I think that's what the talk which has increased with the business, and business now understanding that yes, IT is not a black box which it used to be.
Yes,
Throw
yes.
something to IT, wait for a couple of
Yeah, and it
months,
comes back.
something will come out, you like it, okay, change it, something goes back into that black
True,
box,
true.
comes something. So magics, they used to think of something magic will come out, and they were expecting all the time magic.
Yeah.
Now they are not only expecting, they are into that journey, and that's where we call about the waves implementation or a journey. There is no longer a perfect system you could give it to the business. He says this is the terminology called MVP, most minimum viable product.
Correct.
So you give a minimum viable product, work with them, enhance it, and keep on working, and it will slowly. There is nothing called a perfect world or perfect system you can give to the business.
Awesome. Okay, so let's talk a little about stakeholder management. Ajay, you've been dealing with stakeholders for the last decade or more. Tell us what goes through your mind when you actually carry that deck and say, probably let's have a hypothetical scenario of you going to ask for $1 million. What is the mindset you should? And I'm asking this I want you to answer from 2 angles. One is, what can other CIOs take a leaf out of your book and say this is what we do, and what can the people who are aspiring to be where you are really start working towards? What's the mindset they must have? So can you throw a little light on?
Okay, again, stakeholder management is one of the most difficult tasks any CIO can have it, because in an organizations here, the way the organization work here, it changes the way it works. It's the owner kind of an organizations here.
Yes.
Not very old organizations. So you have like Gs, or you have big organizations which has been there, and processes have been there, systemized has been there. You can do it. So the expectations of there are pretty high. So the very, very important aspect is you need to be communicating with the stakeholders more often than normally you do it. So you need to establish a communication channels. You still might not be able to get a seat on the board. Not everybody is able to get it, but that does not prevent you to keep your communications with them. So the complexities of the stakeholders, you need to go and decipher individuals, how they behave. So I have seen some of those individuals who are the stakeholders, very strong stakeholders, and their requirements are minimum. If you meet a small requirements of them, and you can ask them anything,
they're happy.
You can do it. So you need to understand why the guys. Some of the stakeholders just need a pat on the back. Oh, it is because of you. Sometimes we have a stakeholders who are very complex. What we do is when we are running a projects for them, we make their team as a project managers.
Okay.
They front end it. When they front end it, they understand the problem, which we normally do it. So we push them from the back end. Everybody knows it's an IT project run by him. He feels very happy. He goes and he will get anything from his department. So you have to, not one strategy fits everywhere. You need to apply a strategy based on the particular stakeholders. And when say suppose I need a money for it, the best way to get a money is to create an ROI. Business case. Create a business case. Sit with them. Explain to them. Take out all the risk, what are the risks involved in it, what is investment, how do you calculate the ROI. Lot of business does not know how to calculate an ROI. And I have a very, very lean model of creating an ROI with multiple levers, direct levers, indirect levers. I mean, a lot of people talk about, okay, I'll bring IT systems and it will reduce manpower. And I always say, we will never use this.
Yes.
What I do is, we will avoid hiring more manpower.
Correct.
So suppose I am processing 10,000 invoices a month, and there are 6 people who are doing it. I don't go and say I'll bring a system which will
reduce
free.
Right.
What I say is These 6 people who are processing 10,000
will
invoices
probably process.
now process 20,000 invoices.
Brilliant.
So what you are trying to do is you are doing a cost avoidance.
Correct.
You are not hiring more people
Right.
to do the same thing.
Correct.
So which is a positive statement.
Absolutely.
And which is expectations of the man, because most of the time you say when you are doing an automation, when you are doing digital projects, most of the time their expectation is, oh, I will get a reduction in cost of the manpower.
Yes.
And I always keep on saying, never look at the cost of something, look at the value it is going to generate. So if I do an IT project and I am spending $20 million and I can generate a 40 million value out of it, it's good enough.
Absolutely.
So nobody looks at that.
Yeah.
So most of the time this is where you do your homework, you go to them, and I have never ever have been in a situation where I have done my homework, taken a paper, and it was immediately signed. And I have
Correct.
as tough as Hussain Sajwani, who's the Tamac chairman. I mean, it's a personal investment in that. I've seen a lot of tough stakeholders, but never got it, because most of the time we as an IT, and that's where I say IT is also in a lot of fault, and where we are.
Yes.
We do our technical bit, which says, okay, this is a security requirement. If you don't do it, we will have
you will have
problems. And then they says, these guys always threatened us. These guys are of no use. So we have to be more and more open our communication channels. Even if they don't put it on a board, it doesn't prevent you to talk to all of them outside the board. So create an environment where they feel they have a problem, and IT have a solution. IT can bring a solution. And we have done a lot of things wherein we brought in solutions where it was not expected out of this.
Interesting. I have one more question for you, and this is a question I have not asked anybody, Ajay, and I'm going to ask you. As CIOs, do organizations know what a CIO must or should deliver, and do they leverage on his skills, or do they end up reducing them to the job of an IT manager?
Again, I'll say because of the fact that IT has always been considered as a something to deliver.
Yes.
So we tell them and they will give something to us.
Yes.
So it has become, I should not say, but it's become kind of a vendor. And that's the reason a lot of companies says, I'll outsource IT. Because I tell a vendor, he will do it. I tell an IT, he will do it. So it has become that way, and that's the reason a lot of companies are looking at outsourcing their IT.
Correct.
Now, this change, which is visible to the people at the management level, but still they are not so comfortable. So even if they bring a CIO, they bring a CIO to the table, they're not expecting much out of him. They're saying, okay, I'm bringing the CIO to the board level so that he meets all these people, and they don't come and says IT is not doing this, IT is not doing. I have brought IT to this level, talk to him and get your things done. They still have not seen the value coming out of it. But this is something which will change over a period of time. And for this, I expect the IT managers or the CIOs to up their ante.
Yes.
Have more communications with the business. Try and look at their problem and convert their problems into some kind of a solution you can say. They look towards you. Oh, I have this problem. I don't know how to solve it. Is there a way IT can solve it? So that's how you do it. So they become not only for the troubleshooting for something that they have an issues, but also they know that, okay, I have if I'm looking at something, if I'm looking at a different business model, let me look at IT first. How they can. Do you have any other suggestions? I think that's where it is. It is more and more. It is improving. The relationship between IT and the business is improving, but I think it has to change drastically. And when we say transformations, I always says there has to be an IT transformations. IT guys has to also start talking to the people at all levels, not only like a CIO is talking and at these levels he comes, he brings something and then again it goes into a black box. I think that engagement has to be at all levels. Then only this generation which is coming up, this developer kind of a thought process, the changing the way they do it has to come. We still have a lot of work to be done on our second and a third layer of the IT, who is talking only technical.
Brilliant. That's really nice. Quite, yeah. I agree with you. I think largely the onus is on us to also make sure we are able to reach out to business and talk to business and say, guys, we are on your side and we are a CIO. Because a lot of time we get carried away by the designation, and a lot of CIOs I have noticed, Ajay, still end up doing a lot of hardware and infrastructure work, and they go to the board and then say, we will buy X gigabyte of hardware and so many megabytes and so many gigabytes, and that doesn't work. What really works with the business is how do you save money, how do you bring your customer closer, and so forth. Okay, as leaders, we have all had failures. Would you like to share a challenge that you had and that you could not succeed in, and what was your learning from that?
So, okay, what happens when you are trying to do a certain project? Again, when it says it's managing the stakeholders, sometimes you try your best and the stakeholder is persistent and he says, no, I want only this.
Right.
And I had those examples when I knew that this particular product, the way they want it, will not work. But then there's no way. So you take it to a certain level. You don't need to. See, that also sometimes happen. IT says I am on the right, and they start fighting.
Yeah,
let's not, because the money is not coming from your pocket.
Correct.
The money is coming from the business. You need to bring out, tell to the people. So there was one of the projects wherein I went in and says this system will not work the way we work, the way the organization work, and I made, so nobody was listening. So I made presentations, gave it to them, they still didn't agree, and they went around with that system. I said, once it is agreed that we will be implementing a particular system for a particular department, let's put full effort. So we put all our effort, we brought the system to the level they wanted it, and then the day we went live, the chief says, I don't want this system. This doesn't meet my requirements.
Wow.
Because by the time the team changed in them, they say the previous system which was been suggested by IT is a better system than this.
Oh.
Fine. We spent 6 months in doing that. We went back and built the system the way we wanted to. So we got what we wanted, but the learning was that sometimes you don't have to all the time fight with the business and says, because that, what does it create? Now what has happened is when this project got failed, nobody across the business said anything, and we brought in the another systems, the way we developed it, we gave them to them. So till now, they know that. So for them it became like, yeah, we should listen to IT.
Okay.
We should listen to what they are saying.
Okay.
So there has been failures. It's not that we, there has been certain failures because of the way the business was done, and most of the IT projects fails because the communication channel during that implementation also is not there. Business keeps on changing, the people keep on changing, so you'll still have projects getting failed, and sometimes whenever an IT project gets failed, I actually feel very bad because if it is not adopted well, any system implementation is worthless for me.
Absolutely.
If it is not adopted well.
Absolutely.
So my always way to do things was see to it that it is gets adopted well, and we have a system which is helping the business to grow.
So your learning really is don't get into a fight and
Yeah, I mean there's no point. I mean see you should be. So you should be putting your points forward.
Sure.
There are various ways to put your point forward.
Sure.
There are various. there have been ways wherein we have convinced the business on a later stage. I'll tell you one of the systems for one of the business unit we were doing something, and they said they wanted it in a different way, wherein the vendors will have their own systems. We will not ask the vendor to come on the same platform. I explained to them. We went along with them. And said, no. So, fine, let's build it this way, the way you want it, and let's go. And every time we had certain issues, I'll remind them that if we had this, it would have been better. Now you will have all the data with you, you want to remove a particular vendor, service provider, still the data remains with you, things are with you. I think the second iteration when they had an issue with that, they realized that no, what he says is what IT is saying is a better way of doing
makes sense.
Because what we said, we started showing them data which was coming and how it could be much better because you are getting this data. But if you do this, you can do much better way of doing this. I think that's where sometimes you have to see it. You have to take this, that there's no point fighting with the stakeholders, the money comes from the stakeholders. Even if it is an IT budget, if we are spending on a particular business unit, you can't say that, oh, I have got IT budget approval and I want to spend it the way I want it. You never ever should do that. Even if the budget has been approved by IT from the topmost management, when you are implementing something with business, go with a business case, go with an ROI of the systems and says this is how it is going to be. Sometimes they will agree to you, sometimes they will not agree to you, sometimes they will realize a little later. It's okay. The journey is there. It's not why to fight. It's a business. You're there. It's not personal with you. You're doing a business. So you need to realize that you should be passionate about what you are trying to deliver, but don't be involved to an extent that it becomes personal. So have a difference between passionate and a personal.
Excellent. Have you thought of quitting? Have there been days where you said, I've had enough, I'm going to the Himalayas or...
Not to the Himalayas, what you're saying is, but that's something which I always have in my mind, to at least do a base camp in the next 2 years. I'll do a
Inshallah.
base camp journey. So I've been practicing for, so I, besides my all these things, I do other activities also. But yes, it does come many times, and that's where I got this learning. When I says passionate and personal, remove it from yourself. There was a time when they wanted to decentralize IT, and I knew that decentralization would be a very, very costly affair, and we went for a lot of argument. I was passionately saying that why are you trying to do this? This is going to be a big mess, and my boss was saying, I don't want to hear problems from them. I'll give this to themselves, let them run. If they spend triple the money, that's okay. Today when I do it at a central level, they want flexibilities to themselves and they're not agreeing. So do it. And I said, it is not at all advisable. And we went to an extent and I thought about quitting. I mean, what's the point? You're not able to understand. But then I reflected back. It is something you can't control. So we did one of the business units which went off and they found out that the expenses went prohibitively high. They understood it. And I also understood this learning. I got it, why I am getting so personal about it. If the company wants to do this way, you run it or you leave the company. But I think as far as my journey has been there, I have enjoyed each step of it. So till now I haven't thought about anything about the quitting. Might quit a company and go into a different company, because you understand you
that's
can deliver to
that's fine.
But still that passion, that eagerness to develop something, to make something different, it's always there, and I think
Brilliant.
I'm still into that mode.
Awesome.
Continuing.
Awesome. If you are not in technology, Ajay, where would you have been?
Okay, if it not been technology, I would have been a sports person.
And what sport? Wow.
I don't know what sport. I used to be, during my college years, I used to do rowing.
Oh, really?
And,
Interesting.
In fact, I went up till national games. So I have been UP state from which I have come.
Sure.
Thrice I was a UP state champion. And once I went in 1987, LP, Kerala.
Yes.
So national games were there. So didn't proceed too far in that to that level, because obviously a college student still trying to do my college things and all. But that's something which I
Very
do
nice.
it. And then when I left college, then I do a bit of a running. So I do some half marathons and all. So that's something which is more about it. And the second part of it, which I said is going to the Himalayas, is not exactly going to the Himalayas, but going to the base camp, which I am planning next year.
So what's the one passion that you're pursuing seriously now, other than technology?
Okay, I like reading a lot. So I have my own library at home.
Okay.
So besides, so that's one bit of it. But that doesn't keep you fit. So I always believe that, and there are so many WhatsApp messages, and you would have heard about it, that your body is the one which stays with you all the time.
Correct.
So please take care of that. So I try to do one thing that's something which I try to keep myself healthy in terms of being active. So I do, as I said, I do runnings, I do cycling sometimes.
Very nice.
And this country, actually, you'll have to be very, very fortunate to have in this country the way. I mean, you go to Al Qudra and you see the cycling track. You never have, in a lot of countries you don't get it, that facilities. The facility, you have it there, you just go run and do it. So, I mean, this country gives you all the opportunities.
True.
To be fit.
True.
To go ahead with any kind of activity you want to plan. You can do anything here. and that's something which I love about this country.
Brilliant. Awesome. Good to see the personal side of Ajay. What has been your eureka moment?
The eureka moment. Okay, I don't know. There have been many because
Sure.
when I do anything, it goes into so personal into us that whenever we achieve that, we feel like oh wow. So one of those, I don't know, we call it a eureka moment or a moment of what you call as an extreme happiness.
Okay.
Yeah. So this was when I was working with Indian Oil.
Mm-hmm.
5 years we spent rigorously working on to implement SAP
Yes.
across the organizations. So when first of our SAP implementation in the refinery in Panipat was supposed to be going live, and it was being inaugurated by the president at that time, Shankar Dayal Sharma. So he flew into that place, and we were supposed to do it. The place from where he has to do it was supposed to be nearer to the building, so that we can connectivity is there.
Correct.
Now suddenly they said that he is gonna be doing some 2 kilometers away from that location.
Oh my God.
And we got to know in the evening around 5 o'clock, and the next day 10 o'clock
10
it was
o'clock.
there. So we were looking for fiber cables around there that we can lay a fiber there.
Yeah.
So we did not. We got the fibers laid through that and said, I don't know whether this is 2 kilometers and there's so much construction, other works is going on. Somebody might cut it, what will happen?
Absolutely.
We got a VSET link there.
Wow.
A small VSET link
Wow.
to connect to it. We got another cable laid through that. We did all those things. And when he pressed the button for inaugurating and the check was printing it out, that something was like,
wow,
we could do it in spite of so many things, in spite of working. We worked for that event to happen over a couple of years. But then at the last moment, so many things happening, and you were able to get everything together and see it successfully implemented, successfully going live. And we were like, at that time, not very old.
Yeah.
It was something which
Absolutely.
it was something like, oh wow, we did it. There has been many, says projects whenever you do
Yeah,
it and complete and you go it is this. But that was something when
brilliant.
we know that president is going to inaugurate it and we have this problem, we should not have even this much slightest of a problem. And you got something, everything changed over the night. So that's something.
Awesome. Okay, talent. Talent has been one of the key factors that analysts and large companies have been talking about. According to you, Ajay, what role does talent and manpower retention play in the success of a digital transformation?
So okay, when we talk about digital transformations, the biggest challenge we will face is a talent. Because as I told you, you can't change the existing set of people's mind frame to work in a way of, there are few who changes it. There are a lot of them who has been working in a retraining and what you call is de-learning the way they were doing things and learning a different way of doing things is always a challenge. So talent is something which is in today's world with a kind of this people call it generation X, Y, Z. I don't know what they will have after the Z. Is that this generation is very short in commitment, very short, and I think to a certain extent I'll blame the social media which has come up. The kind of systems you are bringing where 10 seconds memories and it get washed out is something which is on their mind, and they're not that committed to the work. They are says what is there in for me. They are always asking what is there for me.
Yeah.
And I will says it's learning for you. So I can learn from, I can read, I can learn, I can go to college. I learn in college. What learning I know more about it than anybody else. They think that because they have access to the technology, they think because they are ahead of the people, general people, the business people, they think they know everything. And this is learning I can do anywhere. I can go online, I can do all those things. So what is there for me? So I think what we do is that they need to get attached. So the new set of generations is not attached to the work. They're not even attached to the parents. They're not even attached to a lot of things. To their partners, because this is what is in many commitment. It's a low level of commitment of the people. I think here the very important role, the emotion quotients plays a very important role. So you need to bring them into it, make them passionate about it. So I used to do is, and I still do is that I run soft skill programs within the organizations, within my team.
Excellent.
How a fast-paced team works, what kind of a different leadership skills you will need it. Look at, my leadership, look at your team lead's leadership. So find out what it is. So getting more involved, we do external activities, we go around playing together. So they're getting more attached to each other. When they got more attached to each other, they got attached to the organization. They got attached to the organization, they got attached to the project. So it's a learning, it's a curve which we take through them. So they are more focused on doing things. Digital transformation again will be a big set of the way people deliver projects, the way people deliver things has to be changed. And that's how you. So first level is that let them get attached to the organization. So now what is there? Now organization has to grow. You have to grow. How do you grow it? What you are doing is one way of doing things. You need to change every time. Look at whatever you're doing it. Can it be done a different way? It has to be done in a different way. So when you look at doing things, I had one of the guy with me who says he came for some increments and all, and he says I have 8 years experience and I'm still here and there. I said, listen properly and listen to me very carefully. You do not have an 8 years experience. He said, no, I worked from this date to this date, it's already 8 years. I said, you have a 1 year experience 8 times. How and what have you done to differentiate yourself? What has been done? You have not grown yourself. You have not grown in an organization. The reason is because you have not grown. So please look at doing things in a different way. And it's a challenge to get these people into that. And so the older generation doesn't want to move here. The younger generation is not very committed.
Yeah.
So it's a balance. You have to do it. Bring some people up from here. Bring their commitment. Bring it to a level that they can deliver.
Awesome. That's really nice. What do people say when Ajay walks into the office? What does your team say?
Okay, I don't know, they say only the good morning.
Yeah, but I'm sure, but other than that, what do you think they say so?
So they've always been saying this, that Ajay is a good team builder and Ajay is a very open person. So what I do is normally, I kept, my doors are always open. So if I have to call somebody, I don't call her phone or send somebody, I'll just scream out his name and the guy says. And most of the time when I have to say something, I'll come outside in the center of it and then speak. So I do a lot of time, this is my habit also. I can't sit for a longer time, I walk around. So I might go to the other department just because of the sake, because I need to do that communication channels with everybody. I walk around that also. And even, you don't have to deliver certain messages by just calling a full meeting and doing it. You can deliver your message to a smaller set of people which percolates down to the other entire team. So I normally come out and if I've read a good article, I'll come in the center and explain to the people how it is, how the CIOs are. If I'm reading on something on the Gartner, and which they don't have access to. And if I give them a 25-page booklet, half of them will not read it. So sometimes I'll do the top technologies, I'll just create a printout of that, put it in 10 different places, people read it about it, and then I'll ask questions about people. So it's everybody getting more and more involved about it. I think the most important thing which my team says is about, I do take the team together all the time.
Very nice. Excellent. Who has been your inspiration?
Okay, inspiration.
There could be more than one person, but
yes.
Typically.
I think, generally people will say that my father has been an inspiration. So they will always be there. So we'll be mentioning them that they have been an inspiration is something which is saying that they have always been.
Correct.
Parents will always be there because they go through that kind of a... Exactly. They've taken us to this journey where we are here because of them. But the most important inspiration was my first boss, I'll say.
Interesting.
And so I joined Indian Oil in 1994. And the thing is that how to deal in an organization, I learned a lot from him. How he worked, how he was also a very open person, and that's where when I deal with people, when I deal with my team, that openness is always there, because I learned a lot from him, how to be successful. So the thing was always there. When you are going to take any assignments, you need to read a lot about it. So when I went into projects, the biggest thing was either he explained what to do, what not to do, but he says these are the documentations. You need to be very thorough with documentations, because when you deal with somebody, you need to understand before you deal it. You're getting into a new business. You're getting into a new learning curve. So for you to learn about the business, there are two ways of it. You will learn it by failing it and then doing something wrong. People will throw you away from there. Or you understand about it. Before you speak, when you're speaking to somebody and you have a knowledge about it, they will respect you. If you're speaking to somebody and you have a lesser of a knowledge, they will say, here comes another idiot. So you have to, for you to get a confidence of your team, to get a confidence of the business with whom you're dealing it, you need to be knowledgeable about it. So read. And that's where I said, I still read a lot about things. The reading habit I was inculcated by him.
Excellent. Awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from the man himself, Ajay Rathi. Couple of takeaways for me. CIOs, us technology guys, need to up the ante. We need to understand what the business wants, first and foremost. Number two, IT is no longer a black box, so make sure you speak the language of business, and stakeholder management is very, very key. Number three, focus on your people. Their needs are changing, their requirements are changing. We're dealing with a different set of generation. Focus on them, look at them and offer them a source of learning, and they will be with you. Number four, keep your passions alive. Look for opportunities beyond technology to keep yourself alive. Now, in the case of Ajay, it was rowing. In your case, it could be running, doing the marathon or whatever it is, but keep up to it and enjoy your work and have a goal. He plans to do the Himalayan base camp in less than 2 years. So when we get him back on the show, the next time we'll probably hear whether he did it. Ajay, thank you very much. It was really a delight having you on the show.
Thank
Always
you.
A pleasure talking.
Pleasure's mine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.